Okay everybody, in this video I'm going to talk about addiction, and I'm not going to talk about the morals of it or the ethics of it or how people who are addicted should be treated. I'm just going to talk about what addiction is and how it works, because honestly there's a shit ton of people who don't have any understanding of it, basic or otherwise, and they keep going around insisting that they understand it, and they don't. So, people that I have heard have said many times that marijuana cannot be addictive. You cannot become addicted to it because it is not an inherently addictive substance like cocaine or heroin. But the fact of the matter is, you can become addicted to anything, even if it's not a substance. You can become addicted to masturbation, addicted to sex, addicted to porn. You can become addicted to video games. You can become addicted to a certain TV show. You can become addicted to a smell. You can become addicted to anything, okay? Typically what's seen in addicts is that without this particular thing that they're addicted to, they feel bad, okay? They may be depressed, maybe they have anxiety problems, maybe they're just going through a rough patch in their life, whatever it might happen to be, okay? Maybe just at the time they initially become addicted, things aren't going that great, but they start to use or do a certain thing. And by doing this thing, or by using this thing, whatever it might happen to be, it might be weed, it might be booze, it might be heroin, whatever it might be, it provides a temporary release from their problems and from their pain. And they temporarily feel better. And they immediately start thinking that this is what's causing that feeling. That if I want to feel good, I should use this. And it's that mental connection that creates and causes the addiction. People eventually start depending on the rush, the feeling that they get from this thing so much that they no longer rely on any other way to feel good. They start only doing drugs to feel good. They start only watching a TV show to feel good, only masturbating to feel good, etc., etc., and they start to feel depressed and more anxious, and their symptoms, their initial symptoms, start getting worse when they don't get it. And this is aside from physical withdrawals, because physical withdrawals aren't as prevalent with non-substance addictions, okay? So if someone's addicted to video games, physical withdrawal symptoms would not be nearly as visible if they were to leave. If they were to stop doing video games for a while, stop playing video games, but they were addicted to it, there would not necessarily be physical withdrawals visible, but there would probably be emotional and mental withdrawal symptoms. My point is, you can be addicted to something no matter how inherently addictive it might be. Alright? How inherently addictive something is just means how easy it is for people to initially become dependent on it. And because with pot and with a bunch of other drugs, with actually quite a few things that people sometimes become addicted to, you can use it or do it or something, and you don't necessarily become addicted to it. It takes a long time of use to build up a dependence on it. And that's why they're not called addictive, is because they don't hook you on the first use. Other drugs, and I can't say from experience, but other drugs are called addictive because of this property, because after the first use you are immediately hooked. Maybe even after the second use you might be hooked. And that is at the point when you would call it an addictive drug. So just because marijuana isn't inherently addictive, just because you won't get hooked on the first use, does not mean it's physically impossible to become addicted to it. And I don't care if you guys drink, if you guys smoke pot, I don't care if you guys are doing drugs, it's not my business. Alright, but if it's honestly to the point where you feel like shit if you can't have something, and you feel like shit because you can't have access to something, then there's a problem and you honestly need help. I'm not judging you. I'm not saying don't do anything like that ever again. I'm saying maybe try and ease off a bit, because in the long run, you're not going to help anyone, especially not yourself. You don't necessarily only get addicted to a certain thing because it's an addictive thing, even if it's not a drug. It causes you to feel good once or twice, and then you start relying on the rush from that. And that is how people get addicted. I don't care if you think that I'm judging you for this video. I don't care if you think that by making this video I'm doing something wrong. I don't care if you think that I've said things that are incorrect in this video. Fine. I just want to say that you can become addicted to anything, including weed. So don't start spouting off this bullshit of weed isn't addictive, therefore I can't be addicted to it. Because at that point, you're just in denial. You really are.